This is my UFC 287 post-fight recap, and yeah, got a lot of recap. Um, this is also brought to you by C4 Energy. Obviously, it's not, but I need this to get through this because, yeah, I cried myself to sleep last night after Pereira got slumped out cold. So let's just get into it. Israel Adesanya knocks out Alex Pereira in the second round with two devastating counter right hands. Where do I start? Okay, so the fight starts, and automatically Izzy looked better, in my opinion, more ready for Alex Pereira. He didn't look as nervous. He looked pretty confident. He looked like, say we can say what we want about Izzy, and I know a lot of people don't like him, but the dude's a fighter. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Sorry, camera's messed up. So Izzy was more on the front foot. Wasn't backing himself onto the cage consistently and giving Pereira a bunch of opportunities to time him. He had Pereira guessing. He had Pereira blocking a lot of body kicks. But to be fair, it's not like he was like stinging Pereira. And it's not like Pereira was stinging him. There was a couple moments when he would leg kick him, or he would get Izzy close to the fence, and he would unload some combinations. Nothing was landing too clean, but it did look like Pereira was getting the better of it. But Israel stayed calm. He looked really good at slipping the punches, rolling, and staying off the fence, like I said. And Izzy was looking for more shots over the top, but from range, he was having a tough time reaching Pereira because Pereira stands so tall. And I think it's because he keeps his arms so far in front of him that you have to basically go around his arms, and him being tall and having those big, gigantic, long arms and giant hands makes it hard to probably reach his head. But in the second round, it looked like Alex hurt Izzy's calf with a kick, and Izzy it already had been looking like he'd been hurt. And so Izzy backs to the cage and shells up, and Pereira went in recklessly, flurrying on Adesanya. He was landing knees and body shots and left hooks. He was trying to find the opening, and Izzy just timed him while he was wide open and came right over the top with the right hand, hit him on the side of the jaw. He was basically already done, and then he hit him with another one and just knocked him out cold. And then a hammer fist from hell on his chin as he's asleep. Brutal KO. I picked Alex Pereira, and the last fight I picked Israel Adesanya. So safe to say, I really don't know this matchup, and whoever I pick is probably going to lose. But yeah, man, I got proven wrong, and honestly, I'm happy for it because you don't want to watch someone just lose to someone 4 times straight. That's not fun. To see him overcome that and to just not give a fuck and just go out there and do his thing, it was cool, And people can say the gyno and he's on this and that, but at the end of the day, like, that was a good performance, and to get your revenge on this guy, I bet it feels sweet. So anything to take away? I think Alex Pereira definitely needs to, I don't know, maybe consider going up, depending on if the weight cut is what is affecting his chin or not. I don't know. I've only seen him get TKO'd once in kickboxing, so I don't want to just say he doesn't have a chin. He took some big shots from Bruno Souza and was fine. But maybe him versus, let's just do him versus Hamza. Why not? Or him versus Whitaker. See what happens. I think Whitaker can use the wrestling on him, but Pereira's always got that knockout power. And Israel, well, actually, maybe they should just do the trilogy because I don't know who else is at the top right now. Yeah, but anyways, that was a pretty good performance from Israel Adesanya. He defeats Alex Pereira by KO, and I was wrong. Co-main event: Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal. Called this one pretty accurately, I thought. Gilbert Burns used his... I picked Gilbert Burns, by the way. Gilbert Burns used his wrestling And yeah, and basically just anytime Masvidal tried to get something going, he always had to worry about that takedown. Uh, the first round was pretty close. Burns was just coming over the top with that right hand, man. Masvidal was just trying to. He just didn't see it coming. He was letting Burns get way too close to him, and it's like before Masvidal even realized the right hand was coming, Burns was already in his face throwing it, and Masvidal's reactions were just off. Still looking for that check hook, planting his feet, and he looked like he didn't really have a game plan besides kick Burns in the leg, but he was using the regular thigh kicks and not the calf kicks. So, Gilbert was able to push through the pain, and he didn't really have any drop foot or anything like that. And then Burns in the second round just kind of gets a double leg, body lock, or he gets a double leg, turns the corner, and just takes Masvidal down. I think he took him down at the end of the first as well, and that's when you kind of realized, like it's not looking good for Masvidal. And Masvidal, yeah, he kind of just looked like he was just fighting off of instinct and what he know. Like I said, it didn't look like he came in with a great game plan, or maybe just Burns is a bad stylistic matchup for him. Burns was doing really good with the body kicks, though. That's what I was surprised at. Burns was taking a page out of Masvidal's book, landing switch kicks to the body, big right body kicks. Masvidal was throwing them as well. But to be honest, the fight wasn't necessarily that exciting because both guys showed a lot of respect to each other. The second round was basically just Gilbert holding top position. And then the third round, Masvidal starts getting hurt with those right hands, but he's still got a great chin. Literally eating solid right hands to the side of the head, to the chin, uppercuts. Yeah, he's still got it, man. Like, he got knocked out by Kamaru Usman, but whatever you want to say, Jorge Masvidal is still really durable. And then Masvidal retires afterwards. And, it's probably a good thing. If you're not having fun in there, and you're not feeling it, you shouldn't be doing it because you're just taking damage for no reason. He's already got money. He's got notoriety. He's got a big fan base, and he's well known in his city. Like he said, he's a multimillionaire. I think he just likes to fight. It's all he knows. He's been doing it for so long, 20 years. Think about that. I'm 30. So he's been fighting since I was like 9 or 10 years old, and he's only 8 years older than me. So that's fucking crazy. And if you're young, you're watching that, 8 years sounds like a long time. It's not. I'm going to be 38 before I know it, and you'll be 30 before you know it. So it's just crazy to see that. He kept it going for as long as he did and had like a second prime in his mid-30s, and that's when he got his most fame. So that just shows, man, never give up on your dreams. No matter what your circumstances are, you probably have at least a shot of getting some of the success you want. And shit, you might even get all of it. So might as well try, because no guts, no glory, as they say. Anyways, some motivational shit. Yeah, Gilbert Burns defeats Jorge Masvidal by decision, and I actually picked that one correct. Okay, Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez. I was completely wrong, and this showed me a valuable lesson. I knew Rob Font was a good fighter, but I was so caught up in how he got hurt in his last two fights that I just completely ignored all his stylistic advantages he'd have. More direct about what I mean is he just had a better jab than Yanez, and he had more range, and he's just more consistent. And Yanez, he's very tricky, his defense, but he's super offensively minded, and he's more trying to like make reads and time you and knock you out with one punch, whereas Font is consistently using his left hand to set up his right hand. And that's basically what he does. Is he has a bunch of different ways to do it, but his left hand is there to set up a big right shot. And they were scrapping in this fight. They were just hitting. Oh, by the way, Rob Font knocks out Adrian Yanez. I didn't even say that. Yeah, Rob Font KOs Adrian Yanez in the first round after a pretty back and forth fight. Both guys are landing jabs, landing 1-2s, landing right hands. One guy has a big shot. Yanez swole Font's eye up immediately. Font hit him within 5 seconds with a big right hook. it was just a good brawl. Not a brawl, but it was a good back and forth, just slugfest. And Rob Font eventually he hurts him by holding the head and coming with like a right hook. And he had already done it a couple times. Coming out of the clinch, he used his left hand, like I'm telling you, he uses his left hand to gauge the distance, and he lands his big power. He hasn't been hurting people with it lately, but he fought Jose Aldo, who rarely gets knocked down, and Chito Vera, who's, I don't know, his skull is just not made of bone. It's made of rock or something. But Rob Font cracks, jabs in, grabs behind the head, sort of to gauge his distance. And Yanez, to his credit, is literally comboing. He's countering in combination, which is exactly what you want to do. But Font dips his head, dodges the first one, and just comes up with this crazy right hook, like directly to the chin, and knocks Yanez down bad. And then ground and pounds him, TKOs him. Whew, definitely go watch that one because it's short but sweet. And I was wrong. I picked Adrian Yanez. I thought he was going to catch Rob Font. I thought Rob Font was going to be winning, but I thought it was going to be like the Chito fight. Completely wrong. Rob Font, good job, man. I'm really glad he won, though. It's nice to see. And Adrian Yanez, he'll be back. He didn't take this loss very well, but, you know, it is what it is. So, next fight. Kevin Holland knocks out Santiago Ponzinibbio with, like, just Kevin Holland, man. He's just the man. He just does shit that you can't train for it. You can't practice it. He's just a fighter. The dude understands that he's a big giant guy and he's got big hands, and that if he swings his hand on your chin from whatever angle, he's gonna hurt you. And that is some intuitive ass shit right there. Something that I could never pull off. Something that 99% of the roster couldn't pull off. Like, these are those strange guys that can just do weird stuff. The Nico Prices, Kevin Hollands. You know, these guys that just have just a weird offensive mindset. They're not limited by positions. So the first round is okay. So the fight wasn't great. I'm going to go back into the fight. Fight wasn't great. Santiago was doing a really good job calf kicking Kevin. Kevin wasn't really throwing too much. He was having a tough time getting into range with Ponzinibbio because every time he tried, apparently he had a broken hand. So every time he tried, it did kind of look like he was hesitant to pull the trigger. And I thought he was nervous. I couldn't tell why. Now I know his hand was hurt, so that makes a little bit more sense. But eventually in the first round, Ponzinibbio throws a kick. Or no, actually, sorry. Kevin throws a kick. Ponzinibbio catches his kick and is holding Kevin in the air on one foot. And Kevin fucking back fists him across the chin and drops him on one leg. And that is why we love Kevin Holland. Like, who else does that? Drops him and wins the first round. Okay. And we're like, okay. And I'm just rooting for Kevin Holland to somehow win because it's just looking like Ponzinibbio is slightly ahead, just slightly ahead. But then the second round, Ponzinibbio, I think, gets it because of the calf kicks and just staying safe. He's not really getting hit too clean. But in the third round, again, more of the same. Ponzinibbio is doing a pretty good job calf kicking. Kelvin's having some moments. He's able to touch him. He's not hurting him too bad. And then Ponzinibbio throws a kick. Kevin catches the kick. Ponzinibbio spins to get his foot out. Kevin tracks him, and he's so long that as soon as Ponzinibbio is done spinning, Kevin just launches like this longest left hook I've ever seen and just folds Ponzinibbio, like folds him so bad. And Ponzinibbio was doing so good, but he got hurt so bad, face down on his face, and Kevin hits him one time, but it's over. And then Ponzinibbio was so rocked that he hops up because it probably was instantaneous. He didn't even realize he face planted. It was that bad. So Kevin Holland, still the perfect meme fighter, and we all love him. And I got that one right, so not too bad. And we're down to the opening of the main card. Christian Rodriguez defeats Raul Rosas Jr. by unanimous decision. I gotta be honest with you guys. I should have done more research on Raul Rosas Jr., what he was saying. Did not realize how arrogant and overconfident he was. There's nothing wrong with confidence, but you gotta have some humility. He has not fought anyone to be saying the things he's saying. I didn't realize he was saying that he's the best, that he's, I'm not even going to get on it because he's a kid, right? But Christian Rodriguez, he just stayed calm. He didn't get overwhelmed by the first round blitz that Raul Rosas Jr. came with. Stayed super calm. His cardio was great. And he just outworked Raul Rosas. He just outpositioned him. He was ahead in the scrambles. And on the feet, he was the better man. Yeah, Raul Rosas Jr. gassed after the first round. He had a good first round, but he couldn't get that submission. And after the first round, his just gas tank fell off a cliff. He probably had an adrenaline dump, wasn't expecting Christian Rodriguez to be able to keep up with him, which just shows like that's the wrong mentality to go in the UFC with. No matter how good you are, you got to take everyone serious. And Christian Rodriguez showed him. He dadded him, basically. Out-scrambled him, out-positioned him, and beat him up. Didn't hurt him really bad, which is probably good for Raul Rosas, but yeah, this is going to be a big setback for him. And I got that one wrong. I bought into the hype. I should have done more research, and that's my fault. That's kind of the story of this card, is I should have done way more research on a lot of these fights. So I'm just going to go through the ones I want to talk about, because I'm not talking about certain ones. Kelvin Gastelum beat Chris Curtis, like I said. The wrestling didn't come into it as much as I thought. I just thought Kelvin was going to be quicker with more outside boxing. But to be fair, Curtis has a argument for winning this fight, because he got dropped with a headbutt in the second round. And that was still a close round that he could have won. And he arguably could have won the third. But luckily, they gave it to Kelvin. Yeah, it's not like he beat up Chris Curtis. It just, I guess visually, it looked like he was the more active fighter, probably because Curtis likes to stand there. And the leg kicks, I think, were a big visual, seeing Curtis get taken out of his stance and he was already kind of not the most mobile guy. So to see him go from stationary to more stationary, I guess to the judges probably looked, like he was getting on the wrong end of it. Kelvin was doing really good, bouncing in and out like he does, not attacking as linearly as he usually does. The second round, he kind of slowed down and started. But the first round, he's moving, he's on the outside, he's popping his jab, straight lefts, leg kicks. Yeah, he just looked great. And Curtis still looked good. He's still got that same tricky style in the southpaw stance where you get too close to him, it's like walking into a wood chipper. Like he's going to damage you. The only thing that I said, the reason I was picking Kelvin was because his chin. I didn't think Curtis could knock him out, and it was true. He hit him with straight like hooks to the chin, and Gastelum just ate it and just, okay, yeah. There was a point where I think the third round, Gastelum's literally like looking at the clock, and fucking Curtis elbows him in the chin, and his like chin moves, and he just looks at Curtis and like, oh, okay. It's just, some dudes are built different. So yeah, I'm glad. That's actually the one I was the most worried about. So I'm glad I picked that one right. Kelvin Gastelum, good job. I'm glad he's back. Chris Curtis, he's still going to be around. He's making money. So I don't care about those fights. Okay, Joe Pyfer. I underestimated Joe Pyfer. Man, he is a big dude. And I thought Gerald Meerschaert was bigger than he actually is. I thought Gerald Meerschaert was like, see, I did not do enough research. I should have known that Meerschaert was going to back himself to the fence and Pyfer was going to be able to find a shot. I thought Meerschaert looked really slow, considering he was the smaller guy. He looked slow. He looked like just so nervous. Maybe Joe Pyfer's just got that aura, that big man aura that just puts people scared. But this looked like the Gerald Meerschaert that fought Ian Heinisch, and this looked like the Gerald Meerschaert that fought Khamzat. Just slow, hesitant, and as soon as he got hit by a big shot, he was done. I'm not saying like he quit, but he just got rocked. He didn't see it coming. He got so rocked he couldn't get himself back into the fight. And that sucks. I was hoping that after that Bruno Souza fight, he'd have a little bit more confidence and he'd move on the outside, because I thought he'd have better movement. But no, he tried to just stand and out kickbox Joe Pyfer. And Joe Pyfer, man, just stayed calm. He didn't even really do a lot. He just stayed calm and slowly walked Meerschaert to the fence and then knocked him out with a right hand. I think it was a right hand. I gotta go watch it back. But yeah, sorry guys, I was completely wrong. I trusted in the legendary GM3, and Joe Pyfer proved me wrong. So definitely gonna have to keep my eyes on Joe Pyfer. Ignacia Bahamondes beats Trey Ogden by decision. I got that one right. Lupita Godinez beats Cynthia Calvillo. I got that right. Luana Pinheiro beats Michelle Watterson. I think I got that wrong. So, yeah, women's fight, not good for me. Steve Garcia KOs Shally Ann Nerdy and Becky. I hope if one person watched this and picked Steve Garcia by knockout, because I did. Because after I predicted this fight, I went and watched again, I should have done more research. I watched I watched Shally Ann Nerdy and Becky versus Zhu Rong, and I didn't realize he was so open for a big puncher. And Steve Garcia, man, the first round, he was done. He got laid out with multiple shots, but his toughness and his will to win just carried him. And in the second round, Shally Ann is really gassing, which I don't really understand because he was in top control for the last 3 minutes of the first round. But some people, I guess it just gets them really tired. And Steve Garcia kicked him with a beautiful stabbing kick to the liver, and then left hook to the liver, and Shally Ann just goes down like he got shot. It was Steve Garcia. That was really impressive, and I should have just picked him. I had a feeling, but I got swayed by the buffness. I picked the buff guy. I didn't realize he was going to be dwarfed by Garcia. So yeah, that's a wrong one on my bad. And again, this shows that I'm getting too focused on dumb shit, and I should just pick them as they are as fighters. And then Sam Hughes beat Jacqueline Amarim, and I picked Amarim, and that's my fault for picking a debuting female fighter against someone who's been in the UFC and has shown that she's tough and that she's going to go 3 rounds. So anyways, those are the fights. I'm going to predict the next card. I got some weird highlights I want to upload. I'm going to try to actually get a better record because I think my record on this is like 5-7 or 5-8 or something like that. So we're going for undefeated record sometime this year. So stick around for that. And if you like this dumb content, I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, tell me what you want to see. Take care.